for public commenters. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Good morning to the members of the public and the staff who are with us here in attendance in the hearing room for the Board of Public Works. If you'd like to offer, if there are members of the public that would like to offer commentary on public comment or on any of our items this morning, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room. Indicate your name and which item you'd like to speak on and hand it to me. And good morning as well to the attendees who are joining us and the Bureau representatives who are joining us via the Zoom virtual platform. If there are any members of the public or anyone who would like to speak on any of our items today or offer public commentary, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute, and I'll record your information for the record. And we should get started momentarily. Thank you.
Close that window so the outside noise shouldn't bother you too bad.
All right, we are now in record mode, President Garcia.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. TJ Knight.
Good morning, Madam President Garcia. TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer, taking role in establishing quorum. President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, Commissioner Corsand are present. Commissioner Reyes is delayed due to city business. She will be joining us shortly, and we do have a quorum. We are also joined by City Attorney Representative Virginia Choi. Once again, I'm Assistant Executive Officer TJ Knight. President Garcia, we have one speaker card under public comment, no neighborhood council commentary, and no speaker cards under any of our items this morning.
Very well, thank you for that. Given that we have general public comment, let's take public comment now. And we have here Mr. Kenneth McKenzie.
Good morning. My name is Kenneth McKenzie. I was here about 2 months ago to report a false accusation from one of the employees of Public Works against me. And he continued doing that. The story is that he accused me of putting some planters on Hollywood Boulevard. I haven't put any planters on Hollywood Boulevard. My address, I own a property in Hollywood Boulevard, the address is 5928 Hollywood Boulevard, 5928 Hollywood Boulevard. And the address that he puts in this accusation is 5934. That's not my address. So he's wrong on that, and then also he's wrong on accusing me, because I did not put any planters on Hollywood Boulevard. And he keeps sending me papers in the mail. The last one I got it yesterday, and he said I have to pay a fine of $500. Last time I spoke to Mr. Campos, and he understood, and he said he's going to take care of it. But I guess there is a problem of communication. Somebody's not doing his or her job. Because this the name of the inspector is Marine. So Mr. Marine keeps attacking me. And somebody got to do something about this, because he's a liability for the city of Los Angeles. Somebody in the city is not doing his job. You know, you don't, I think a false accusation is a crime. So somebody has to be held accountable for this. We cannot just go on with something like this, accusing people for no reason. I'm really concerned about this. And here is the evidence, by the way. All you got a copy. So please, somebody's not doing his job. You need to do something about this, because they represent the Board of Public Works. He's an employee, so, you know, he's making you look bad. So please, do something about it. I hope this is the last time I come here. If you want me to swear, I swear. He's an investigator. He's not doing his job. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. I want to just confirm the address, property address you're talking about is the 5934 Hollywood Boulevard?
That's the address he's got in the fines, yes.
Okay.
It says 5928 Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay. TJ, can we get his phone number, and Vice President Villegas is going to follow up on that?
Yes, will do.
Thank you. Can you just give him your phone number and put it on one of our, one of these?
And that concludes public commentary this morning.
Thank you so much, TJ Knight. Given that given that that was our last public speaking card, public comment is now officially closed. It's moving on to the approval of the minutes of Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to approve the minutes of September 20th, 2023.
Very good, and we'll take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 1. This is a request from the Bureau of Street Services in Council District 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 15. And we have Mr. Bañuelos for that this morning. Hi, hello, Hector. Good morning. Hector, you have 1 through 4. Do you want to take those together?
Yeah, we can do them together.
Okay, let me just read the top of it, and then you take it over from there.
Sure.
Item number 1, Bureau of Street Service, Council District 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 15, for a contract expiration date extension landscape maintenance of Median Islands. Item number 2, Council District 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 15, contract expiration date extension landscape maintenance of Median Islands. Item number 3, Council Districts 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 15, contract expiration date extension landscape maintenance of Median Islands. And item number 4 in Council Districts 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 15 for a contract expiration date extension landscape Median Islands. And I turn this over now to you, Mr. Bañuelos, to guide us through items 1 through 4.
Yes, good morning, President Garcia, Commissioners. Hector Bañuelos, Street Services, Urban Forestry Division. We have before us is a request that the board allow Street Services to extend the contract for up to 90 days. Landscape contracts. There are 4 landscape contracts covering various regions, geographic areas of the city. And we come across unprecedented delays with the contract bid process, review, and awarding. And we're currently preparing reports for new contracts. However, it's going to take a bit more time than we anticipated. And so in order to minimize or eliminate potential for lapse in service, as we all know, lapse in service will create a lot of complaints, a lot of blight, and a lot of, should I say, medians that look terrible in many parts of the city. And so by allowing us the extension, it will allow our bureau and other relative bureaus time to review and award and execute the new contracts forthcoming. We expect that the contracts, or anticipate the contracts may be presented for the board within about 30 days and possibly maybe a little longer, depending upon if we encounter unprecedented delays during the review and award process. So that's why we're requesting that the board allow a contract to be extended for up to a period of 90 days. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bañuelos. And that's for all 4 contracts?
Yes, that is all 4 contracts. I
Okay.
did want to state that, for the record, that some, on 3 of the items, there's council districts do not properly address per each contract. So for instance, on number 1, we had as the North Central contract, and we listed as the council districts as 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15.
Yeah.
Request that it be revised to reflect the correct council districts, which are 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 14.
Okay, so there's an addition of districts in here.
They put the wrong ones.
Oh, they put the wrong one.
The same one on every one.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay.
Yeah. So it's also on item number 3 and 4. I'll go through the items as well to verify the correct council districts.
Okay, so for correction, for item number 1, it's 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 14. And for item number 2?
Item number 2 is correct.
Okay, and item number 3?
Item number 3, it would be council districts 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 13, and 14.
Got it. And for item number 4?
Number 4, it would be council districts 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 12.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, it seems, yes, I feel like you captured all districts here. Correct?
Yes, that's all of them, yeah. And,
Okay.
and just so you know, the contracts are scheduled to expire tomorrow.
Okay, so let's get this going.
Yes.
Before the emergency test happens, let's do this. Okay, so TJ Knight, we're gonna take that as a correction. It's more of a correction on the agenda, so we'll make sure that we correct that. Nothing to correct on the board, it's just really the agenda that we need to do the correction. So nothing to correct on your board report, is what I wanted to say.
All but the council districts that are up on the
Yeah.
upper left-hand corner, yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
So with a technical correction.
Yeah, we'll make the correction for the clerical errors on the board reports as well as the agenda for the journal.
All right, any objections, colleagues? Hearing none, any questions? Hearing none, seeing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 through 4 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas.
I apologize, as amended. So
As amended.
Yeah, items 1, 3, and 4 as amended, item number 2 as listed on the agenda.
Correct.
Sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's fine. There was a first by Vice President Villegas. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. TJ Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Commissioner Corson to move items 1, 2, 3, and 4 forward and forthwith as amended for 2, 3, and 4.
For as amended for 1, 3, and 4.
1, 3, and 4.
Yes.
All right, we got it right, Hector.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very good. And for the record, we are joined by Commissioner Davis at 10:18. So roll call vote. We are taking a roll call vote on items 1, 2, 3, and 4, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Davis.
Aye.
Thank you. All ayes, and the items are approved. 1, 3, and 4 as amended, and we'll move forward forthwith.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day, Mr. Bañuelos. Moving on to item number 5, this is a request from the Bureau of Sanitation and the Bureau of Contract Administration in Council District 14 for a personal service contract, General Los Angeles Recycling and Transfer Station, recommending the board to, one, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor and city council with the request that the Board of Public Works be authorized to execute a personal service contract with American Restore, Inc. for specialized as-needed services for the application and maintenance of concrete floor protective topping at Central Los Angeles Recycling and Transfer Station. And two, upon the mayor's and council authorization, the president or two members of the board will execute this contract. And this morning, we have Ms. Flores Soto here.
We do have a Ms. Flores Soto here. She did make a request prior to the start of the meeting to withdraw the item.
Oh.
If you would, she is available to respond to any questions that you have.
Sure. Just why the request to withdraw, and will you bring it back?
Good morning, Commissioners, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. We are requesting to withdraw the item for now because Elisan was unable to meet and have an agreement with the new owner of this company. So we need to go back and, negotiate terms.
Very well. And you'll come back when that happens.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you so much. This item's withdrawn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the day. Moving on to item number 6, this is a request from the Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering in Council District 12 for a contract acceptance, Balboa Boulevard at Knollwood Plaza Driveway, Federal Project Number HPLUL-5006534, and Balboa Boulevard and San Fernando Road Intersection Improvement, Federal Project Number HPLUL-5006490. Recommending the board to, 1, accept this contract, 2, assess Sully Miller Contracting Company with a penalty in the amount of $19,721.30, bid listed disadvantaged business enterprise subcontractor, and 1 bid listed other business enterprise subcontractor. And 3, instruct the Director of Office of Accounting to disencumber the recommended city penalty in the amount of, is that 19,000 or is that $1,972?
It's a 19,721.
I think we're missing a zero there. It's $19,720?
$21.30.
Okay, we're missing a 1 there. Can we do a technical correction on that as well? I see 19,700 on recommendation 3. It's incorrect.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's $19,721.30. Got it. That's the corrected amount on recommendation 3. From the project fund, and Ms. Blankinchi, I have you here, but you're going to present, Ms. Fuentes? Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners and Representatives. I'm Patty Fueyas, and I'm with the Office of Contract Compliance, or OCC. This project is federally funded and is subject to the city's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, or DBE program, in accordance with regulations of the U.S. Department of Transportation 49 Code of Federal Regulations, Part 26, and Caltrans's DBE program. The project was advertised with a DBE goal of 15.58% and was awarded with a bidder's pledge of 3.20% for DBE and 42.71% OBE. The participation levels achieved were 2.95% DBE and 39.11% OBE. The OCC is recommending that the board assess Sully Miller with a penalty in the amount of $19,721.30 from the project fund because 2 bid-listed subs were underutilized. The first is Precision Engineering, which is a DBE. They were bid-listed to perform survey work for $18,975. The OCC verified that Precision Engineering didn't perform any work. And so because they are a DBE, they may be assessed a penalty of $18,975, which is Precision Engineering's total bid listed amount. The reason why the OCC is recommending the board assess the full bid listed amount is because the federal government will not pay for any work by anyone other than the bid listed DBE, which is Precision Engineering. The second underutilized bid listed sub is Pavement Recycling Systems, and they are an OBE. And they were bid listed to perform cold mill work for $7,463. The OCC verified that Pavement Recycling performed only $4,854 worth of work. Therefore, Pavement Recycling may be assessed a penalty of $746.30, which is 10% of Pavement Recycling's bid listed amount. The OCC notified Sully Miller of the potential penalty on July 29, 2019, but Sully Miller did not respond. The OCC verified that there were no city-issued change orders that approved the reduction of work. On September 29, 2023, Sully Miller accepted the penalty and stated that they will not be present in today's meeting. Given these findings, the OCC's recommendation for penalty remains unchanged. And that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Fuentes. Any questions, colleagues? Hearing none. I heard you say that there was, BCA double-checked and there wasn't any change orders that approved this, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I also heard you say that the contractor was notified at today's hearing and he chose not to come in. Or she, yeah.
Yeah, he chose not to come in.
Okay, very well. Those are my questions. Any other questions, Dr. Davis?
No, I don't have any questions, just basically comments that we appreciate being made aware of this routine violation that needed to be executed on behalf of the city. And even though it appears that the contractor is an equal opportunity oppressor, if you will, the work that the Bureau of Contract Administration does is critically important as we begin to ensure that everyone, including minority businesses, and the other one was an OBE, but equally important, that they get the money that they work for as well, and that this work is an example of why it's important for BCA to do what it does in compliance. And
Agreed.
thank you again for bringing this to our attention.
Agreed. Thank you very much, Dr. Davis, and thank you to you as well, Ms. McClinchy, for bringing this ahead from us and making sure that everybody had a fair chance. Given that said, any other comments, questions, any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 6 forward and forthwith?
As amended, sorry. As amended.
As amended on the technical correction of the agenda, because the board report is correct. Okay.
Actually, the recommendation number 3 should be in the amount of, penalty in the amount of $9,721.30.
Correct. Correct. So as amended, is there a motion on the table to move item number 6 forward and forthwith?
So moved as amended.
Dr. Davis, the first, is there a second? Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 6 forward and forthwith as amended.
Very good, and we'll take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes, item number 6 is adopted as amended and will move forward forthwith.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good rest of the day.
You too. Thank you.
Nice seeing you. Moving on to item number 7. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration for a request for qualification as personal services contracts pre-qualified on-call architectural and related professional services consultants, various public works projects. And you have Four recommendations. Recommending the board to, one, authorize the city engineer to issue and advertise the transmitted RFQ to architectural and related professional services consultants for various public works projects. Recommendation number two, authorize staff from the Department of Public Works to evaluate and pre-qualify the respondents based upon the requirements and procedures set forth in the RFQ. Three, authorize the city engineer to negotiate a personal service contract with each of the highest rated and most responsive firms. And four, direct the city engineer to report to the board with recommendations on executing the negotiated contract. Did I capture everything, Mr. Fierce?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, President Garcia and Commissioners. So the BOE is requesting the authority to develop pre-qualified.
Mr. Fierce, do you mind putting it just closer to you? Yeah, you can fix it,
Let's see if that's better.
as you feel comfortable. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is that better? Hopefully.
Yes.
So the BOE is. No, sorry.
It's hard to hear on this side of the
Understandable. All right, thank you. BOE is requesting the authority to develop a pre-qualified on-call architectural and related professional services consultant list of approximately 15 to 30 architectural and related professional service consultants contract with the duration of 5 years. The PQOC list will provide a pool of competitive consultants that are pre-qualified to perform architectural engineering and related services. Pre-qualifying the firms will greatly expedite the contracting process. Task order solicitations issued under this PQOC to perform proposed scope of work may range considerably from a few $1,000s to over $1 million, depending on the scope of work and complexity. To include qualified, though less established firms, the PQOC list will contain two tiers of firms. Tier 1 is rising, which is a community-level contracting opportunity, and Tier 2 established. The intent for creating the rising tier is to expand the diversity of the design talent available to work on city projects and to support the growth of rising firms. Additionally, the rising tier will provide greater access to firms for work that may be too small in scope or disciplines to attract attention from the more established firms. Firms will be asked in their SOQs to indicate their interest in one of the two tiers of work. Only one tier can be selected. The TOS estimates between 0 to 500,000, that's tier 1, or the TOS estimated to be over 500,000, that's tier 2, the established. And tier 1 firms will need to demonstrate that they have been in business for a minimum of 2 years. And BOE reserves the right to release a TOS to the complete list, including both tiers or to tier 1 or tier 2 only at our discretion. Upon adoption of this report by the board, the proposed RFQ will be advertised on the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement, this is RAMP, and also via a notice to advertise, which will be placed in a local publication. Once the RFQ is advertised, the BOE will perform outreach to various local organizations, including the American Institute of Architects, the American Society of Landscape Architects, the United States Green Building Council, and the National Organization of Minority Architects. For each TOS, the project will be awarded to the PQOC list proposers whose proposal represents the best overall value to the city for the requested work. So in compliance with the Mayor's Executive Directive Number 14, the business inclusion outreach requirements will apply to all of the projects under this RFQ. Now, all proposers are eligible to participate in the local business preference program, and the city shall grant 8% of the total evaluation points added to their evaluation score to those proposers who are certified as an LBE firm. If the LBE is also a local small business, an SBE, or a local transitional employer, they may be granted an additional 2 percentage points in their overall evaluation score. So the RFQ for design services has been evaluated per the community level contracting motion issued in May 19th of 2021. And based on this assessment, the RFQ will provide community level contracting opportunities for small scale projects with a design fee from 0 to 500,000. The contract to be entered into with the selected PQOC consultants will will not have a single specified source of funds attached to it. Instead, the funds will be encumbered on a project-by-project basis. With that, that concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Fierce. Appreciate your report. Any questions, colleagues? I see Vice President Villegas and Dr. Davis, VP.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the report. It's very thorough. Appreciate that we're finally at this point. I know it's been a little arduous, but I'm glad that we're here. And I like that, I have comments and questions. I like that you separated so that we have others also participating with the community level contract. My question is, if we select some architects in Tier 1 at the community level contract, will they also have the opportunity to be like a subcontractor for Tier 2 for other architects?
No, we wouldn't normally go have them be as a subcontractor because these are prime contracts with the architect. And maybe I can have this.
Linda McGlinchey is here, the voice of truth. Here you go.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda McGlinchey, Bureau of Contract Administration. Since Tier 2 is a traditional RFQ where the bidders will do outreach to create lists of potential subcontractors, it is possible that those on Tier 1 could participate as a subcontractor on Tier 2.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And then and Linda, you can probably stay here along with BOE, in terms of the duration, how long will the RFP last?
This would be a 5-year contract.
No, the solicitation for architects to put their bids in, how long will the bid be open?
We are still setting that date right now.
Okay. You haven't set the
Approximately 6 to 8 weeks right now is what we're looking at.
Okay, and then my last question, when BOE puts this list out and then you receive all of the bids or those firms that are interested, who makes the selection of those architects for our new on-call list?
Usually the board does.
Yeah, we will select a team within the Architectural Division of Bureau of Engineering, and it would be probably a group of like 3 to 4 raters at most.
Who's we?
Architectural Division, Bureau of Engineering.
Bureau of Engineering, okay. And do the contract participate in the selection?
We don't, yeah.
Not really, other than we're evaluating them for responsiveness.
Okay. My question here is geared towards, I understand that we're finally at this point where we're going to go after a new list. And, we want to be able to get others to participate. And so I just want, if other eyes can also see it, that would be good. Whether it's going to be new staff from BOE or other bureaus also making these decisions, I just wanted to know a little bit more.
Typically, the selection panel is Bureau of Engineering staff, Commissioner, and we rank the proposals. We also, because we're looking to do this community level contracting opportunity, the Tier 1 rising firms, we're going to enlist our colleagues at ConAd to do 2 sessions of training of how to use RAMP, because it always is disappointing that someone fails because of the RAMP outreach. So we're really going to try to bend over backwards, especially for the rising firms, to teach them about RAMP. The rising firms, it's an opportunity for them to do smaller city projects and begin to learn our process, so that when we create the next list, they might at that point then propose as an established firm.
Okay.
And we're going to reach out to a range of organizations we haven't in the past reached out to, like the LA Forum, various AIA chapters, NOMA, the National Organization of Minority Architects, the Association of Latino Architects. We're going to really put a big effort in with flyers to make sure that the wider community here knows about this. We have great design talent, in Los Angeles and many people interested in doing public sector work, but just not aware of what the process is to do that.
True. Okay, thank you. And I just, my last comment, again, just goes to when we have the Tier 1 list of qualified architects who are doing the community level contract work with us, if, I don't want to negate them if they're going to be a sub for
Right.
a bigger project.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Davis?
Yes, comments I have as well as some questions. Certainly, I want to thank the Bureau of Engineering for this presentation. I'm pleased to know about the collaboration where the Bureau of Contract Administration has been intricately involved. And in the report, you seem to push all the right buttons for inclusion, which is critically important. And the division between both the rising vendors versus those who've already risen, that is really also crucial as we approach looking at this request for qualifications in the future. And in looking at that, I'm wondering how many of the individual experienced firms or those who've risen, as I have said, will we be selecting, and how many of those who are rising will we be selecting?
So there's no fixed amount, Commissioner. Right now, our list is 20 firms. So it might be that we have 20 firms on both lists. It really will depend on the proposals we get.
In terms of presenting this proposal in the Organization of Public Works, I remember when Gary was here, a part of what oftentimes would occur is that they would present this and the committee that you speak of would make some selections, but they would then bring it to the Board of Public Works for the list and the roster in the order in which firms would be able to be called. And
So-
we take them out of a hat, if you can recall, Deborah.
So we will come back to you with a report with our proposed list of firms that we'd like to contract with.
Sure.
We will come back to the board with that.
What is our vision in terms of the list of those experienced firms as far as what we hope for in terms of diversity at those established firms? I would suspect, based upon your presentation, that for the rising firms, you hope, based upon you using Latino architects and NOMA, that you would hope that there would certainly be diversity in the rising firms. But what is our vision for those established firms as it relates to diversity?
Well, we're always interested in whether the established firms have minority or women representation in their leadership, and they will make that clear in their proposals. As you probably know, that's less common. It's still, we're in a transition, but many of those firms, since we did this 10 years ago, will have better representation.
There are some firms that do have diversity in their leadership.
Yeah.
And we have no way of making them apply. But of those that we have selected in the past, has that been one of the elements of our selection process, that those of those that have been selected, those individual firms with diversity have been a part of that selection process? Have we in the past been able to include those individuals in the established selected firms?
So we as a city don't give any priority to primes who have women or minority leadership. We give goals for
Sure.
subcontracting. But informally, when we look at the firms, we're looking for firms that both have the qualifications to do the kind of projects
Sure.
we anticipate, and we look for diversity in leadership.
Yeah. My question was not around what we do in terms of the selection, but more rather, what was the outcome of our past actions? Not what was the income in terms of what we were trying to select, but more rather, what did we in fact select, though in fact we don't make a preference based upon race and gender. What was the outcome of the past selections as it relates to that?
So the past selection, which was, it's a list, expires in about a year and it's 20 firms. I personally know that a number of those established firms have diverse leadership in them. And some of them have done a fair amount of contracting or project delivery with us. I'm not going to mention specific names, but
Sure, sure.
yeah, but we have had diverse representation in the task order awards that have been done over the last 10 years, and we've had good representation in the sub-consultants.
As it relates to the established
Yes.
consultants. So that's equally important as to why it's commendable that we have separated the size in terms of those who are emerging, because when we look in the market in terms of architecture, even in public work at the county and at the Board of Education, in particular, those individual members of NOMA have been able to get work in the former, both Board of Supervisors and through the Board of Education, but not so much so in the city. So as we look at ourselves and as we examine our own potential, my hope is that not only will we have diversity, but we will have equity based upon our past history. And I know we cannot control it, again, in terms of what we specifically are trying to select. But it is my hope that the outcome and the results of our work will certainly be as similar as our brother and sister government agencies, as similar as the Board of Supervisors, whom we can look to and know that they have had NOMA architects, and the Board of Education, we can look to and see that they did, in fact, have NOMA architects. And so it is my hope that as we implement this program that is a two-tier system, that hopefully it will include those individuals who specifically, unfortunately, did not result in inclusion in some of the work in the city of Los Angeles. And then finally, I will say that as we move forward, we know that Proposition 209 is a reality. But again, when people understand what our personal values are, those who come to us will also be presenting in ways in which reflect some of the same values we have. So I'm hoping that, and finally, my hope is that one day, even as it gets to the established firms, not just the rising, but those who've already risen, will include those individuals who have been traditionally left out. That is my hope. So thank you for the presentation today.
We share your values. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis. I agree. I want to thank Mr. Fears, of course, you, Ms. Weintraub, and Linda McClinchy for being creative on this, because this is the first time I've seen this come through our desk. And so I encourage more bureaus to look at, as we move forward, putting more RFQs or RFPs, or what's the other one? The other RFP, RFQ, but there's one more, RFI, right? Letter for interest, right? As we put those together, is that we can think of this tier justice situation. And I also like that the tier one is not a small amount, that as Linda and I have been in a couple conversations with community members that are around this contracting, that it's not so low enough that it doesn't really upgrade the business. It's just a service, but with a limit of, or not a limit, a ceiling of $500,000. It seems now that businesses that are at that level that they can take on more will be able to thrive with a $500,000 ceiling of this. So I'm very happy that we're at this point, and I loved how you guys put together your creative and make sure that we were able to do this two-tier system. Very nice. So again, Ms. McClinchy, as you get other bureaus looking for you on these RFPs or RFQs, encourage them to see if there's a way we can do a split of tiers as well. It's nicely done. I'm curious to know, once we put it all together and the list comes, how did the experience go? Did we have a lot of firms coming in? And then a year from now, I would love to hear how did the work go? You know, were they able to meet all of our work? Were they at our level? Were they working at the standard of a city like us? So that's what I want to hear at the end of this whole entire project that we're doing with the RFQs. All right. Well, other than that, I don't have Commissioner Corson.
Thank you. Thank you for this. I do like the 1 and 2, but I do have kind of requests and a question that will go into the requests. I see the current on-call list, and 3 have never received a task order. So I would like to, when this comes back and we are closing out this one, know why. You know, I understand the specialty parts, and while $500,000 may sound good, I'm not knowledgeable enough to know if, for example, if most of what we've awarded so far is $510,000, right? Then the rising ones don't get to qualify because it's above that ceiling. So having an understanding of the number of tasks that we've given on the current on-call list, kind of what the average range or median range of the dollar amounts were. And then what I found most interesting so far is that the person or the firm that was ranked originally number 16 has nearly twice as many as the one who was ranked number 1. So I know that again goes into specialty. I just want to make sure as we're closing this out, we as a board get a sense of where those numbers played out and what the opportunities are going forward that we can be prepared for.
So, Commissioner, we haven't used this list in ranked order. We've, over the last 10 years, sent requests, task order solicitations to the entire list. Some firms have not responded. Some of the firms who haven't gotten work are those that have not responded or maybe responded once and their proposal was not competitive. But we can give you a detailed breakdown of that. We've sent it always to the entire list. And actually, right now, what we're discovering is because the businesses, the architecture firms are quite busy, we're having some difficulty getting responses to our task order solicitations, which is another indication that we need to renew the list so that new people, we have new firms who are really interested in working for the city. But we definitely can come back with those details.
Thank you.
I'd like to add to that, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think this new collaboration and the result of this new policy that you present is going to make a difference. And unfortunately, the reputation is, why come here looking at the culture of the past when you're one of the minority architectural firms and you've not gotten any work before? It's a waste of time to come through here. That has been the unwritten feeling, de facto, that has occurred from our past involvement. So I think that the new structure that you present here today says something different. I think your report specifically calling by name those individuals who traditionally haven't been included in matters. And I think perhaps it will help develop a new culture and hopefully a willingness to want to even apply. So I want to thank you for doing that and say that that is really, in my opinion, directly related to the question that my colleague just asked.
Commissioners, we've already started outreach, and if firms are unfamiliar with the work we do, in fact, I think a week ago we had a minority architect come into our offices. We're happy to take people through and show them the kind of work. I think the work is tremendously exciting, and that's why we're going to collaborate to make sure they know how to use the RAMP system. We want people not to fail for that reason and to put together proposals that we can review and not disqualify because they didn't do the outreach correctly. And we made a point of asking the rising firms to do the outreach through RAMP, not giving them any special, because they need to learn our system. This is our system. So it's very important that they learn how to use RAMP.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Davis, as well. Not only, I know this, and I know you're starting your Small Business Academy October 12 is your first day. I don't know if there's any architectural firms that would be able to take advantage once they finish the Small Business Academy. Not that you need to, you don't know who's in it yet. I know that you guys are all putting it together, but it'll be, I've seen tangible results from the Small Business Academy. I even met a young man who's his second contract with the city last Friday, and very, very happy to see him part of the city family now. So I just want to say that the Small Business Academy that BCA puts together on a yearly basis, it's so integral to the development of the rising companies or contractors that we want to bring on board. So maybe there's an alignment there, maybe not, but just take a look at that.
So our our cohort for this next Small Business Academy's already been established. But with that said, we can certainly team with architectural division and look at what we might do, not just in teaching them ramp, but as a modified sort of small business academy for those interested in the rising team to help prepare them.
Very nice. That would be amazing. Thank you for that, Ms. McClinchy. All right, I think we've asked and said everything we could have said regarding this RFQ. Any other questions, comments, or objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 7 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. Thank you, Dr. Davis. TJ Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 7 forward and forthwith.
Very good, and we will take a roll call vote on item number 7, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Coruscant.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 7 is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Great, thank you very much. Look forward to the end result of all of this. Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, this is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Sanitation in all council district for a budget increase, super expedited wastewater emergency rehabilitation for sewers program, recommending the board to, 1, authorize an increase in the cost ceiling from $43 million to $43,600,000 with no change to other terms and conditions of the existing contract. Very well, sir. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners and Board Representatives. My name is David Ventura. I'm from the Bureau of Engineering's Wastewater Construction Conveyance Division. I'm here to obtain the additional funding needed to close out the Sewer 6 contract. The original Sewer 6 contract was awarded on October 18th, 2017 to 3 contractors, which were Matthew and Stewart Company, M&R, and Tomovich and Associates, for a total contract ceiling of $30 million. The sewers program handles construction for urgent necessity work for sewer repairs that are identified by LA Sand and Environment, and is an alternative to the time and material contract that's typically done on emergency sewers. On April 14th, 2020, we came to the board to request a budget increase to up the ceiling from $30 million to $43 million. This was to address the influx of complex and high dollar value projects that we were doing at the time. Finally, I'm here today to request a slight adjustment to close out the remaining projects on the Sewer 6 contract. Overall, Sewer 6 has received 1,226 LA Sand requests, and the last project was issued on August 15th of 2022. While going through the process of completing the final closeout change orders, the team noticed a potential shortfall and wanted to proactively make sure that we had enough funding to close out the contract. Back in 2020, we made an attempt to project how much funding we would require to complete the program, and the projection was off by 1.4%. The funding will be paid for by the Sewer Maintenance Fund, and we've already received LA Sanitation's PRC approval, and there'll be no impact to the general fund. We are currently on the Sewers 7 program, and that's the vehicle that we are currently using to address all the urgent necessity work issued by sanitation. So in summary, I'm here to request an additional $600,000 in budget ceiling to ensure that we can continue to process the final closeout change orders for the Sewer 6 contract. I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Ventura, right?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Welcome for that. Any question for Mr. Ventura? Vice President Villegas?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your report. Just a quick question. When does the sewer 6 end?
The Sewer 6 contract ended in November of 2022.
Okay. Oh, it ended in November 20, we've already started on sewer 7?
Correct.
Okay, so this is the remaining work that Tomovich needs to finish up, the additional
There's no
600,000?
actual active construction projects. It's just the closeout payments for adjustments and
Okay.
other lump sums items.
Okay, so the delta you said was about 1%
Yes,
or 1 point something?
1.4 roughly.
Yeah. Okay, all right, thank you. No more questions.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. I don't see any question. Just really quickly, you said Project Downfall. What specifically was that about?
Oh, shortfall.
Shortfall.
Just noticing that we would need some more money or we want to get some more money to enclose to do the closeouts.
Was that in the construction site that we did, we didn't project the 1.4 there, or where exactly was the shortfall?
Oh, yeah, just because there's the change orders that we're processing are the final closeout change orders, and on those, the payments that go to that are for bid item adjustments or lump sums or time and material for projects that are extra. So we would design something for, let's say, 10 linear feet, and in the field, they had to adjust it to 2 or 3, and that's what this is paying for these minor adjustments that we're noticing.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
All right, I don't have any other questions. I don't see any other question. Any objections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 8 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Davis? TJ Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 8 forward and forthwith.
Very good. And we will take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 8 is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Ventura. Have a good rest of the day.
All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Colleagues, this is the end of our voting items. We are now in our oral report section. Item number 9 is an oral report for Water Reclamation Plant, Advanced Purification Facilities, Update Bureau of Sanitation. And Mr. Tolles, you're here. Good morning.
Good morning, President Garcia.
Good to
morning,
see
Vice
you,
President.
sir. All right, so take it away, sir.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Thea. I'm the Assistant Division Manager at the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant. Today, we'll be giving the briefing on the 3 advanced water purification facilities at Tillman, Hyperion, and Terminal Islands. So with me, I have my colleague Christina Jones and Lance Tubido. They'll be taking the lead on the other 2 advanced water purification facilities. So let me do a technical check, see if it's going to go forward. Let's see. So I have the presentation on the slide, trying to progress it forward. Since I'm still working it out, let me do a quick background information on why we're here today. So this is our 4th time coming to the board to give a briefing on the advanced water purification facilities. It started out with former Commissioner President Good. We had advanced water purification facilities at all our treatment plants. They're at different stages. We have a lot of RFPs and RFQs issued to get those projects done. So over time, we wanted to get a comprehensive overview, periodic reporting to the board to kind of give a briefing on what's going on, what are the updates since the last time the board heard the items. So this is the reason we're here today. So I'm going to kick it off with the advanced water purification facility at the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant. It's a long name. We're gonna get a shorter name over time. So let me see. There we go. So I kind of want to start out with the timeline, going over almost 15 years in the planning stage. Started out with the Urban Water Master Plan in 2010. From that point on, we kind of moved towards Recycle Water Master Plan, and the groundbreaking kind of began with One Water Los Angeles, where we started looking at the water as a single source of resource for the Angelinos. So from that point on, we started building up on our planning, piloting, and in 2015, former Mayor Garcetti had a Executive Directive 5 to reduce the waste of water to 0. So we want to be able to recycle everything within the city. So with that, Tillman started piloting a lot of different technologies. that were currently ongoing in different parts of the world. So we did a lot of pilot studies. In 2018, we selected ozone as probably a way to treat the water from Tillman. So we initiated the project. The project went through the construction. It is completed. With the evolution of the regulations, we decided that we needed to go with full advanced treatment, which includes microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and UV advanced oxidation process, which is really protective and above and beyond the regulation. So based on all the work we've done in the 15 years, we decided to make a move with the protective technology, which I'll go over in a little bit detail. So with that, 2019 came and we had a Green New Deal. We came to the board to issue the RFP to solicit the design and construction work for Tillman Water Recognition Advanced Water Purification Facility. We came to the board in the end of 2022 last year to get approval for the financial agreement between the LA Sanitation and Water and Power to pay for the projects. We again came to the board in 2023, early 2023, to award the contract to Jacobs Engineering to start the design. So we're currently in the design phase. We finish 20% design. We're going to 30% design. And with that, I'll go over some of the detail for the project timeline in a few slides. A quick background information on Tillman. So let me see. There you go. Tillman is located on the northwest corner of the city boundary. It serves about 800,000 residents. It is a part of the Hyperion Reclamation Facility, which means any flow that we're not able to treat at Tillman goes down to Hyperion, and Hyperion will treat it. So it provides a critical relief for the Hyperion during the emergencies and also on daily basis. The plant is designed for 80 million gallons per day of maximum capacity. However, typically we will receive about 50 to 54 million gallons a day of dry weather flow. So Advanced Water Purification Facility is one of the components of the overall larger program, which is known as Los Angeles Groundwater Replenishment Program. It's a partnership between LA Sanitation and Water and Power. So we have really cool thing about this project is that we have a lot of existing facility already in place. So the one critical piece of the project is the 54-inch water line from Tillman to Hanson Spreading Grounds. So we already have a pipe connected. After we are able to produce the water can go directly there. It's already going, so it's something in place that we really need to utilize it fully. So that project, I believe, was completed in 2005, so way before my time. So that's another part of the project. Now we get into the treatment process. So as I discussed, the project utilized advanced water purification treatment technology, which includes microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and UV advanced oxidation process, each designed to remove and kill different pathogens and different organisms along the way, almost or even exceeding the drinking water standards. So that is the treatment at Donna C. Tillman plant. But after we send the water to the spreading ground, it goes through the groundwater aquifer, stay in the system for at least 6 months, or in some areas, up to a couple of years, before it gets pumped up again, mixed with the drinking water, and treated again. So the two agencies are going above and beyond to protect the public health with those two projects. Some of the numbers I wanted to kind of mention is the capacity of the treatment capacity of the advanced water purification facility is 23 million gallons a day, which is enough to provide drinking water for 200,000 residents in the San Fernando Valley. And I'll go into the, let me see. Oh, sorry, I forgot to skip the slide. So I just went through the talking points without showing the slide. So this is just kind of brief overview of the advanced water purification facility, MFRO UVAOP, 23 MGD capacity with enough water to provide drinking water supply to 200,000 residents. With that, a little bit of the schedule for the project. We kick off the design in early 2023 in February. We're expecting to finish design by fall 2024. So we did a lot of work. We finished the basis of design a couple of months ago. We're going into 30% design. And by probably next summer, we will get to 70% design where we will have a firm pricing from the contractor. Design is probably solid, and we'll start negotiating for the construction price with the contractor at the time. So with that, a few items that we're going to come back to the board for, probably in 2024, is currently we're working on the financial agreement between Water and Power and LA San to finance the construction of the AWPF and a few other facilities. So we will be bringing the item to the board sometimes in March as the earliest. We will also be coming back to the board for the construction phase contract approval sometimes in summer. With that, we're hoping to issue the construction notice to proceed by September 2024. With that, we'll get into the construction right away, and we'll probably be able to start producing water by the end of 2026. We also have an additional 6 to 8 months, up to 12 months of startup phase, where we're going to optimize the treatment system and capacity and until the plant is fully operational. So I believe the last time we came to the board was in April 2023, and we barely kicked off the design. So I wanted to kind of highlight some of the updates since April. So from the beginning, we thought we would be able to take up, maximum 19 MGD, million gallons per day. After studies and research and field works, we now know we can reclaim up to 23 million gallons per day, which is a big increase for us. We're also able to add maximum capacity, build-out capacity of 30 million gallons per day, which means maybe 20 years from now, if we are able to get more flow, all we have to do is spend a few $1 million to bring the capacity to a higher level. So, investments going on right now will pay off really well, maybe 15, 20 years from now. With the design progressing really well, we hope to issue the NTP earlier than expected and even started construction earlier so we can start producing water sooner than expected. With that, just like every other advanced water purification facility, we form a really strong partnership with Water and Power, our colleagues who work really tirelessly to provide sustainable water to the Angelenos. And I'm going to go through some of the graphics and renderings of the treatment facility. So this is what it looks like with the treatment process equipment inside the building. This is what it looks like inside the shell of the building. It's pretty optimized. We have a very limited space at Tillman. And this is what we think we will look like even better. This is artistic rendering at very early design phase. So with that, that concludes the update for Donald C. Tillman Water Recognition Facility, Advanced Water Purification Facility, and Los Angeles Groundwater Recharge Program. And I'd like to hand it over to Christina for Hyperion 2035.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning, Board President, Vice President, Commissioners. My name is Christina Becerra-Jones. I'm an environmental engineer at the Water Recycling Implementation Division located at Hyperion. I'm here today to just give you a brief update on Hyperion 2035. As Ryan already covered, in 2019, there was a significant goal announced by the city to recycle 100% of the city's wastewater. And our program is in response to that goal. We are looking to maximize the production of recycled water at Hyperion up to 230 million gallons per day. And we're also looking, by doing that, to reduce our effluent discharge to the Santa Monica Bay and improve our resiliency as a city. To go into a brief timeline, in 2019, a lot of the work did start, and since then we have put forward a tremendous effort amongst our staff and our team to produce technical memorandums, evaluating various process areas, site constraints, a variety of topics. We've also hosted a series of workshops. Both these technical memorandums and the workshops invitation have been shared with our partners at Department of Water and Power, and I hope that they will include this information in their ongoing work for their master plan. And we will continue to work with them as we move into our phase one. Our current program is broken down into 3 phases, with the earliest delivery being in 2033 of water to the city for indirect potable reuse. And we're looking at how to move that forward. It's a 50 million gallon per day projects. And this is a brief timeline overviewing what the next steps for Phase 1 will be. We are looking forward to the release of our conceptual phase work and the program implementation plan in the next year. And we're, again, working with our partners at DWP for alignment and looking forward to our next steps. And I would like to hand it over to Lance for Terminal Island.
Good morning, President, President Pro Tem, Vice President, Commissioners. I'm Lance Thibodeau, the Division Manager of Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant, and I'll give an update on TI. As you know, Terminal Island, we're located at the southern tip of Los Angeles in the San Pedro area. We serve about 130,000 people and hundreds of businesses in the industrial harbor area. We, on average, treat about 15 million gallons a day, although we have the capacity to treat 30 million gallons per day. So geographically, as I mentioned, we're located in the harbor area at the southern tip of LA, connected to the greater LA area by the Harbor Gateway. And we serve the areas of Wilmington, San Pedro, Harbor City, and Terminal Island. And here's a timeline of the history of TI. Originally, the plant was built in 1935, and as you can imagine, just did basic screening of solids back then. There's been a number of improvements over the decades. In 1972, the first egg-shaped digesters in the US were installed. TI then went to what's called Class A biosolids production at that time. In 1996, the tertiary treatment was added. And then in the early 2000s, the advanced water purification facility was planned along with our partners, Department of Water and Power. And then that was kind of the next phase to bring us to where we are now. So in early 2000, the AWPF construction was completed. The water is used as a replacement for potable water to replenish the water in an aquifer in the Dominguez Gap Barrier, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. And so with the original AWPF, which we call Phase 1, we could produce up to 6 million gallons per day of recycled water. And we had microfiltration, reverse osmosis that were part of that construction project. In 2017, we completed an expansion where we doubled our capacity. So we can now produce up to 12 million gallons per day of recycled water. In that project, we added more microfiltration, more reverse osmosis, and also a state-of-the-art advanced oxidation process. And one more item. Currently, we are near completing a replacement of our microfiltration Phase 1. So that was something that the board approved a couple years ago. The facility is constructed. This will replace the microfiltration units that were installed in the early 2000s, and we'll have a similar system to replicate what was installed with the expansion.
So this is, I apologize, Lance and team, for the interruption. This is, I believe, a test of the emergency alert system. If we just hold on for a minute, it should, you should be able to continue.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're all getting it.
you can go ahead and sit down until this is over.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Yeah, so we have the microfiltration, which filters out suspended solids, protozoa, bacteria, and some viruses. That's the first step. And then after that is the reverse osmosis. So this continues the filtration using high pressure to force the water through very, very fine membranes. and in this case, salts, dissolved chemicals, viruses, and also pharmaceuticals get removed. And then the final step is our advanced oxidation process. And so in this process, we use ultraviolet light and sodium hypochlorite, which is like an industrial grade bleach, in order to break down any remaining chemicals or pollutants are in the water. And currently, the use of our water, as I mentioned, is to replenish the water in the seawater barrier. So there's the Dominguez Gap seawater barrier, which is in the harbor area, like in the area of Wilmington. And so over time, as we pump out the groundwater to use for our potable uses, we don't get enough replenishment water due to rain in this area of Los Angeles to replenish the groundwater that gets pumped out. And so the ocean water is at a higher level, therefore has a higher pressure than the groundwater. So it would move into the aquifer, which is like a porous barrier between the two types of water, and contaminate that aquifer and therefore contaminate the groundwater. And so since the 1970s, actually, LA County has maintained a string of injection wells. There's actually 94 injection wells for the Dominguez Gap seawater barrier, where they were injecting potable water to maintain that groundwater level. So it's equal with seawater, so that the seawater doesn't contaminate the groundwater being at a higher pressure. But then with the startup of our facility in the early 2000s, they've been able to inject the recycled water into that barrier. So instead of using our valuable supply of potable water, recycled water is used. And so that accounts for 6 MGD of our production. With some construction projects with the distribution system, they'll be able to take 9 MGD in about a year. And then also Department of Water and Power is working with some other end users, being industrial users and refineries in the harbor area, to take the remainder of our water. So therefore, all of the water that comes into TI, all of the wastewater, we have the capacity, and soon we'll have all of the customers on board to accept that water. So that concludes Terminal Island, and I think if you have any questions for us, we could take those.
Any questions, colleague?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I guess, Terminal Island. So your task is to take the customer water and transform it to industrial water?
Our task is to take the customer wastewater and transform it into recycled or reusable water, is how I would
And
word
how,
it.
in fact, is it reused? Is it done in an industrial way, or how?
It gets reused where TI pumps the water into, we have a big 3-foot diameter pipe. Once it leaves the plant, its Department of Water and Power has a pipeline that's about 2 miles
Right.
that brings the water to where it needs to go.
So we use it in an industrial way to help balance the level compared to seawater level.
Yes.
Correct. So that's in an industrial way rather than in a personal way for
Oh,
you.
I see. Yeah. So it's called indirect potable reuse is
Okay.
what we do, where we inject it into this aquifer. There's
Right.
also direct potable reuse, where in the future, once the regulations are established, it could go directly to the tap in our house, or it could go to a drinking water plant.
Well, we're
it-
not doing that now, though.
We're not doing that now
Okay.
in California. No.
Right. And we're not employing that technology, obviously, to that water, correct?
Well, the technology we have is that technology. What has to be done is the regulation has to be established in the United States.
Good.
And it is being discussed because there needs to be a much higher level of control and supervision to be able to kind of like catch if there's any issues or have like an alternate supply of water come in. So the United States is developing the regulation.
how much volume does the Advanced Treatment Center at Terminal Island manage? I understand for some of the others, we have a trifocal system of both Tillman, Hyperion, and then now you at Terminal Island. I did not hear what is the capacity of the water you are managing. I understood that it was 23 million, for example, at Hyperion, I thought. But how many is it for you?
At Terminal Island, we have the capacity to treat 30 million through our 30 million gallons per day through our conventional treatment, but we historically have only gotten 15 million gallons per day. So that's what we treat on a
So
daily
you currently
basis.
are at the capacity of 15 million that you're
Yes.
generating per what, year?
15 million gallons per day.
Per day.
We take it.
Okay, so 15 million per day. And as we look at our whole processing of water, what role does desalinization play in the whole cycle of things?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in the city of LA, there's still the opportunity to treat the wastewater. And that's why you heard my colleagues talk about these other incredible projects at the other plants. And it actually costs less to treat the wastewater to that recycled water quality than it does to treat the seawater, which is what Desal does. Because to remove the dissolved salts from the seawater, although it's similar equipment like the reverse osmosis that at TI have and the other plants will have, it's much higher pressures that are needed to push the water through these very fine membranes to get dissolved salts out, which is what is in seawater.
So nationally, America hasn't really been able to master desalinization as some municipalities internationally have, particularly, I guess, in the Middle East. And in those areas, they've been able to effectively use desalinization to separate salt water, and we have been less so capable of doing so, or at least we've not demonstrated it from any of the municipal cities in this country that I can recall, and you're in the business, so you know better than I. But do you know of any of American urban regions that have used that tool in this whole cycle of how we manage water in government?
I'm not sure on a large scale basis in the US where desalination is used, but there are pilot plants that have, like in San Diego, there's a plant where they're testing it. But on a very large scale in the US, I'm not familiar with any municipalities that are doing that.
I know that in, I guess in Israel,
Okay, yes.
and they're doing it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that
Yeah.
we've not arrived. I was going to say arrived.
Well-
We've not arrived there yet.
What it doesn't mean we're behind. It just means that economically, it's cheaper for us to treat the wastewater to that same quality than to treat the ocean water. So it's
Well,
not that we're
As a
behind.
layperson, and of course, I'm not a water engineer, an
Yeah.
environmental engineer, but as a layperson, it would just seem to me that it would be inviting to try to separate the salt from the water than the waste water. But however, if
Yeah,
you
well,
insist.
And I think a big part of it is public perception, and that's
Right.
something that we in sanitation have to do to educate the public on the opportunity that exists, and that the wastewater, when treated, is totally acceptable and safe, and so that's part of the challenge.
Okay.
Very well. Thank you, Dr. Davis. I see Commissioner Reyes light on. Commissioner Reyes?
Thank you for the report. Sorry I came in late. It's Filipino American History Month celebration at City Council. But I just want to laud all the technology advances that we have at our, those are the resources that we have, and we are fortunate, right, that we have the capacity to use that. I know we are applying for more grants for infrastructure. The membrane technology itself really purifies our wastewater to the level that we will really be proud of, like the purest quality of water, and at the same time, the ones that we're using right now on advanced water purification. My point is that we need to now think of wastewater and water as a regional issue. And I think that's the value that, our partnership with the State Water Resources Board, our LA County, the LA Department of Water and Power, and the different water municipal districts would come to play. And really sharing that information so that then we can deduce what will work best for our sanitation, because we do have the current infrastructure and we have to maintain and operate that infrastructure to deliver the water and hand it off to our LADWP for the 4 million customers, residents in the city of LA. And I just want to piggyback on Commissioner Davis's question on the desalination. It's a technology that is not sustainable. That is something that will result in the byproduct of brine, which is salt, and we won't know what to do with that salt. There's like tons of them that will be generated through a desalination process. But our current processes are sufficient enough and advanced enough to treat our wastewater to that quality and grade that we can really be proud of as the city of LA. So thank you for the report, and we'll expect more advances in the near future.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Reyes. And I too want to, before I give my last remarks, Vice President Villegas.
Thank you. Just a quick question on our Donald C. Tillman and then on Hyperion. I'm just wondering, are we doing these projects with what kind of a delivery? If it's going to be a design build, or if it's going to be a design and then put out for construction for RFP?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Villegas. For Tillman, we're going with the progressive design build.
Okay.
So it's a two-part contract where we enter the contract to design it. We negotiate for the construction costs when we get to 70% design. And once we reach an agreement, we amend the contract to include the construction portion of it. I also wanted to highlight the advantages of that is that city is more involved. We are part of the design team day in and day out.
Okay.
We don't just hand over the project to consultant team and they deliver it. We get involved more deeply, more I guess day-to-day basis, and we know how much it costs. It's an open book cost model, so there's nothing hidden there. So we really like that delivery approach, and I'll hand it over to Christina to talk about the Hyperion as well.
Thanks, Ryan. So Ryan mentioned progressive design build. We are already doing that at Hyperion with our Hyperion Advanced Water Purification Facility.
Yeah.
So we have come before this board in the past for that contract. We actually just completed construction with that contract. We will be finishing commissioning shortly, hopefully, dependent on some permits. And there's also the MBR pilot facility at Hyperion that's currently completing construction as well. Those are both projects that are active right now and going to be completing soon. As far as future contracting opportunities, we're evaluating different types of contract delivery dependent on the scope of the work and what works best, progressive design build or the more traditional delivery.
Thank you. I had another question.
Sure.
Just, just if your your executive team is looking at just like the cost, ongoing cost, and how that's going to be reconciled.
Do you mind repeating that question one more time, please?
Yeah, just the cost for these projects. I know that we're starting them. We don't have everything, identified, and how that's going to be dealt with.
The cost, I think, if we want to put it in a simple term, it has to be compatible with the water that we import from out of state or from Northern California. So we have to be able to produce water at that rate. For the Tillman plant, it's at the beginning of the design, so we're still evaluating the cost. We have some preliminary costs, which are really promising. It's coming below the cost for the fresh water. So, back to the point of Commissioner Reyes made, this is a really viable solution for our water supply compared to desalination, where we have to deal with high energy costs. So, in order to produce 1 gallon of water for wastewater reclamation, let's say it costs about $1. I'm just throwing a number. For desalination, it costs about $150. So, it's really expensive. And also the brine is, for every 100 gallon we get from the salt water, 20% of that is a waste that needs to go somewhere. And that is the issue that we still don't have the technology to resolve. So, we're starting with a low-hanging fruit, which is proven and effective and safe. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions?
No, okay.
Piggybacking on the Vice President's question on this, running tally that we have going on, is there a certain budget or a cap that we're looking at? And I understand that all three different systems are at a different stage, but overall, because overall we're still one bureau, so is there a cap to this, or how is the ultimate budget working for this?
So, I think we're going to work through that as we move forward. So,
Okay.
For the terminal island, we had the capital costs, we know the O&M costs, those are solid costs. For Tillman, we're at a very early stage, and our goal is to be able to compete or come below the current water costs for the water and power customers. Hyperion, I think, is a very early stage. We're still evaluating it, and in the presentation, I think Christina highlighted the program level costs at different stages. For Tillman, the groundwater recharge program has several components. So AWPF project alone will probably come in somewhere between, I would say, $350 to $400 million just for the capital cost. And we'll continue to evaluate that. However, we also have to revamp our infrastructure. So we need to bring in additional infrastructures. As you know, the flow comes in higher during the daytime. So we want to catch that flow and use it at night when there's not much flow. So we need to put an equalization basin. That is another investment that we have to make. We need to renew our existing infrastructure, such as valves and gates, so that we can fully utilize the flow coming through the plant. So we're still tallying up all the costs, and we hope that at the next quarter, we will be able to bring in solid costs for Tillman once we get close to 70% design, and that's when we get all the information and we're going to be able to make a decision.
Okay, understood. Last question, and this is probably a more general question, but is there another city that's currently either has already installed the advanced water purification system, or they're in the midst of it? I just want to see if there's another city in the nation that's working this, that's doing this type of project as well.
Thanks for asking that question. I should have mentioned that advanced water purification is pretty popular in Southern California. So we have Orange County Sanitation District, one of the largest, I think up to 900 million gallons capacity. They've been doing that for 15 years. So I went to visit the facility when I was in school and was inspired. And they have been gaining, so we're learning a lot from them. LA County San is forming a partnership with Metropolitan Water District to do a larger project. So, and a lot of other municipalities, going up the coast. City of Monterey Bay has recently finished their advanced water purification facility. Santa Monica is our neighbor that is going fully sustainable, and they just finished construction recently, maybe 18 months ago. It's going through the startup phase. So, we're going out there, but we're catching up with the rest of our neighbors in terms of this sustainability for the water supply.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to know also if Monterey is already implementing this new system to the residents. Do you know?
I'm sorry.
Do you know if Monterey Bay is already implementing this system to residents? Do we know that yet?
I believe so. I believe they went through the initial testing and they passed the regulatory requirements. So we can bring in more updates next time. And The reason we know is that we have our consultant team who worked on that project that moved into ours, bringing their expertise. So we're hearing from their updates.
Okay, yeah, that's very interesting to hear. So if you have any updates that you ever want to share, please send them our way. I'm always interested to hear how other cities are implementing a system as big as this and the direction that we're going as a city. So interesting to know what others have done as well. Very
Yes,
nice.
I'll recommend taking a visit to Orange County Sanitation District facility.
I thought that, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's,
Yeah.
well,
All right, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
You so much. Any other questions for the Advanced Purification Water Facilities System team? Hearing none. Thank you so much, sanitation, appreciate it. Look forward to your next update. And in the meantime, thank you for doing the work that you're doing. You were all very well presented today, and thank you so much. I'm proud to work with all of you. Have a good rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. TJ Knight, have we cleared today's desk?
Yes, we have.
Items? Great. It's 11:39 and this meeting's officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the week.